Thanks everyone for joining us today. In this session, we'll talk about the various APIs FIS host on various lines of business. I have with me Praveen Kumar, Director leading the FIS Code Connect platform. I have with me Prashant, Development Manager, again leading the FIS Code Connect development platform. I have with me Carl, Chris, Director and Product Manager leading the product line of business. I have with me Eric, Director Business Unit Manager, again leading the IBS products APIs. We have Pawan Kumar, Senior Development Manager, leading the development engine platform team on the merchant side. Then we have Sachin with us. He's the director leading the merchant solutions development group. So I'll give a background of the session here. We'll be talking about the Code Connect platform, which is hosting the APIs on banking and payment platform. Then we will run through some of the use cases that the APIs can help with. Then we'll look at the developer experience platform, which is where FIS hosts all the merchant solutions APIs. Now I'll pass it on to Praveen and Prashant, who will be talking about the Code Connect platform, and then give us a demo of how the API catalogs look on the platform.
Hello everyone, I'm Praveen Kumar, Director of Development of Code Connect platform at FIS. Code Connect is FIS API gateway solution. It stands as a cutting-edge platform designed to streamline and optimize API management. This solution offers a suite of powerful features that makes it valuable to navigate complex world of APIs. Code Connect provides centralized API management, enabling the creation, publishing, and seamless monitoring of APIs, ensuring a holistic approach for their administration. Robust security measures fortify the integrity of APIs, guaranteeing data protection through authentication, authorization, and encryption. It has a developer-friendly portal that empowers software developers with easy access to APIs, comprehensive documentation, and essential testing tools. Real-time analytics monitoring using Splunk and Dynatrace provides critical insight into API performance and user behavior. Code Connect's scalable architecture ensures adaptability to ever-evolving business requirement, making it an indispensable tool for business in their pursuit to digital transformation. With these features, FIS Code Connect empowers organizations to optimize API management, enhance security, and propel their digital initiative to new heights. Some of the Code Connect features are support of microservice architecture, security and authentication using OAuth 2.0, traffic control and load balancing, caching, logging and monitoring, transformation and aggregation, rate limiting and throttling, API versioning, compliance and governance, and developer portal. We have great depth in API catalog on Code Connect portal. These APIs are from different FIS solutions. For example, we have credit card management, Payment One APIs. Payment solutions are constantly evolving the cardholders and continually expecting more from their card provider. Financial institution that delivers a fast, secure, frictionless cardholder experience can increase engagement across all channels, including mobile and digital wallets. Like these, we have several other APIs on the platform. Next, I would like to hand over to Prashant Setia to walk through the Code Connect portal and API catalog that we have. Thank you for your time today. Over to you, Prashant.
Hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. I wanted to express my thanks to Praveen for providing us with insightful and detailed overview of Code Connect. So let me share my screen first. Okay. So if you see the screen, so this is the home page of a Code Connect, and one can access this home page by going to this URL. Here, end users have an option to self-register themselves, regardless of whether they are FIS clients or not. Once registered, users can access the default public catalog, which is available to the first-time users. This catalog provides a glimpse of the various API solutions offered on the platform. For the demonstration purpose, I'm going to use a vanilla test account that will simulate the experience of a first-time user. Once we log in, we will be able to see the available public catalog, as I mentioned earlier. So give me a second. I'm just going to log in now. You just input your credentials, and there you go. You will be inside your dashboard. So whenever user gets in, they will be able to see this My API Groups, which is the own personalized user dashboard. Here, user will be able to see all his entitled API groups, which is available to him by default. User can go to the any API group and look at the n number of APIs under those API groups. Moreover, there is an all API group section also that showcases all the API solutions that Code Connect platform provides. However, please note that non-FIS clients will not be able to access certain API solutions as they may not have entered into the contract or did not sign the necessary NDA agreements. Nonetheless, they can request access to these API groups explicitly. The approval process for such requests will involve the FIS implementation teams and line of business and will go to its own course of approval. Moreover, users have an option to subscribe to the available APIs after creating an application. Users can access their applications or create new applications by going to this My Applications link. Applications allows you to use a single access token to access a collection of APIs. Additionally, you can subscribe to a single API multiple times. Once application is created, you have to generate the credentials and corresponding tokens. For the demo purpose, I have already generated the credentials, and I can click on the generate token that will generate a fresh token with a default expiration period. I can also go to the subscription tab here, and I will be able to look at all the APIs that are subscribed. For example, if I go to the credit card management P1 API, which Praveen talked about, I can simply go to this API, look at all of the API endpoints available to that particular API, and look at the documentation and available SDKs. And under the API console, I can try out this API by generating the fresh token, and I can try out that API in a mock environment or to the actual API backend as well. Also, we have the use cases available for the various API solutions. To take an example, if we talked about the credit card management P1 API, I will go to this API solution, and you see that there are the use cases available, which user can go through and educate himself about the various use cases and the request and response payload and understand more about the API. Next, I would like to draw your attention towards the notification dashboard. Every user can see this notification dashboard. This dashboard allows you to track the status of your requests either for keys or API groups. You will receive the notifications like this whenever there are updates on your requests. And you will also see a notification counter like this on top right corner. So if there's an application key request, it will come under here. And for the demo purpose, I already have the application keys approved. And the API group, like I show you, we can request for the API groups, and you can see that my API group request is still pending. And once this is approved or denied, then only I will be able to take further action and request for more API groups. Lastly, if any one of you would like to provide feedback to Code Connect support teams or Code Connect teams, just click on the feedback here, mention your organization and a message. And click send, it will come to the L1 support team. And for more detailed support, if you want immediate help, go ahead and create a ticket and put up an urgency and description, and someone will definitely reach out to you. Thank you all for your cooperation, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Now I will hand over to Chris. Thank you.
Thanks, Prashant and Praveen, for that very crisp introduction of the Code Connect and also the walkthrough on the catalogs of APIs on the Code Connect platform. Now I'll hand it over to Eric, who will talk about some of the use cases and APIs in detail on the product side. So to start with, Eric, happy birthday to you today. And can you walk us through on some of the use cases there? So today, we have a lot of APIs on the banking and card payment system, and how startups or third parties can use FIS APIs of these core banking and server FIS clients.
Yes, thank you, and hello to everyone. Thank you for the gracious birthday wish. Yes, I'm happy to celebrate another birthday, as old as I get now. So it's good to be with you all. It's some of the use cases. My specific responsibilities are in the banking division, and so I'm working with approximately 165 U.S.-based banks. Their use cases for our API ecosystem is to supplement and complement solutions that FIS may or may not offer in the market. So they're building integration that's unique to their organization. The most popular use case would be, there'll be two, I would say, that drive the most API volume or usage. That would be in the area of digital banking, and the second would be in entitlement management, user security entitlement management. That's just drives a significant volume for our clients. However, I'd say the most volume or the highest volume integrations, so it may not be a significant user of APIs, but there's more use cases of it, is in loan origination. For either custom loan types or a universal loan origination loan servicing systems. That's part of the power of Code Connect and the API ecosystem, is that it provides access to a range of APIs that cover all functionality within the core banking system. So that's currently there are approximately 100 different use cases that have been automated through APIs just against the one of our core banking systems called the Integrated Banking System, or IBS, that I'm specifically responsible for. That spans across approximately 60 of our 165 clients. So you can see that from a percentage, each bank would have multiple use cases. They're not using the APIs just for one specific use case. It's becoming much more broad. And in many cases, our banks are using an integration layer, whether that's a enterprise bus that they've developed themselves, or a commercially available MuleSoft type. Well, let's say MuleSoft as an example, not unique to, not specific or restricted just to MuleSoft, but to that type of architecture, where they're doing the orchestration mediation of APIs through that type of layering. So Code Connect, that's again part of the power of Code Connect, that it allows that broad use of APIs that's really driven by the specific use case and the need of the end user. One of the more powerful APIs is our dynamic API. What we've been able to do is create a custom payload through design of what we call our dynamic customer profile. And this is the most, quote, popular API used in Code Connect, not just in the banking division. And this allows our developers, whether it's a bank developer or a third-party developer, to do is to customize the payload that's returned with an API request. For example, customer profile. They may want a digital banking provider. They want to build that type of experience, let's say for transaction history, that needs just 5 different fields for transaction history. However, a back office servicing application may need far more depth of detail on the same transaction history. Well, by providing a dynamic API, each individual use case can be tailored or customized to that specific need. It reduces the development effort, as well as the actual performance of the API is improved by reducing the data load. So just as an example, that's some of the flexibility of that. We've also built a process, what we call process API, for a single orchestrated API that will provide an entire loan boarding. So there's a 53, with the IBS core banking system, 53 pre-built building blocks or Lego blocks, if you will, that could be called to board a loan to the core system. Each loan system is different. Each loan type is different. So by not requiring the developer, the fintech, to become as one person said, a PhD in the IBS banking system, we pre-built these 53 building blocks that you could then call as needed in the order that the client needs. It's called a digital signature we created. Save that, and then it will execute the one process API to perform all of that work stream. We have the same functionality for deposit account as well. So we can open a new deposit account through that one single process API. All based on the underlying system APIs that we built, nearly 600 just for the IBS banking system. So hopefully that's gives an overview of some of the use cases, some of the power of the Code Connect API ecosystem.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Eric. So you touched upon the core banking APIs, and also you touched upon some of the lending use cases. Just to understand, so how big is the scale of the clients here? Is this large banks, or we also serve the middle tier banks? So how big is these clients?
Excellent question. Excellent question. It ranges from the small, let's say a community bank with a limited number of locations and staffing, especially limited in technology staff, so that they may not have the expertise to build APIs, to build with APIs, to build custom solutions. We have, for example, banking as a service, embedded finance. They're a small startup bank used APIs to actually build their ecosystem. So they are, if you ask that CEO, they're an API bank, and they were able to, with the federal U.S. federal charter, start their bank very small, and they're now reaching close to $1 billion in assets under management after 3 years. Again, all driven by APIs and through the Code Connect ecosystem. Very small bank. There's also then the very large banks, 100 billion in assets, for example, that will have their own API development staff, and that's where I say they may have built their own enterprise service bus. They may have partnered with a MuleSoft. They may have partnered with Okta for entitlement management. And their need from us, from FIS, is simply access to the Code Connect environment. Right? They have the ability to build APIs and integration themselves, and they just need us access to provide them access to that. So the range of clients, that's part of the power of the user interface of the Code Connect platform, is that it's not tailored for a specific size organization. The APIs are available and be consumed as any individual needs it.
Sure. So fraud is, I think, one of the main criteria for the banking systems. So do we have any APIs in the fraud area, Eric, that you can touch upon?
I'm not an expert in the fraud area. I know that there are fraud APIs. I think one of the other parts of Code Connect is what we call our events area. Some would call those reverse APIs. And that's where we're sending out a notification through the Code Connect ecosystem of something that's occurred with the core banking system, account balances, that may generate, many of those use cases is to a fraud system. So that if something's happened on a consumer's account, we want to notify that end user application, there may be a fraudulent activity occurring. Then an API could be called in response to that to pull back more information to make a decision on that actual activity. So that there's fraud, there would be fraud specific APIs, for example, to integrate, we've done integration with Verifin as a fraud solution using APIs in a real-time fashion. I just mentioned that there's two, when we get to fraud, the use cases that banks have seen is both API integration to a third-party fraud system, but also using event management, event processing type tools.
Sure. So we had a lot of startups that come to us in the remittance space. So do we have any APIs that can be leveraged on the remittance, especially the inward or the outward remittance?
I may want to pass that to Chris. Chris is really is far more familiar with the payments APIs, the functionality there. So I'm not sure I'm the right person to answer on the remittance or the payment side. I know we have a tremendous, as you saw at the beginning of our session, the card payments and other payment APIs. There's an entire suite of payment APIs available through Code Connect as well.
So this is Chris, right? So from the card perspective, and you're saying remittance and asking for payment, right? So on the card side on Code Connect, you're going to get those card processor types of APIs. A bank who's issuing cards, opening an account for getting a card, issuing the actual card, activating the card, all the card fraud APIs that go along with those cards. For actually accepting a payment, right, that would be a merchant API on a developer engine portal. So I'm not sure if that's a good time to pass over to that or back to Eric.
Sure. Yeah, good answer, Chris. Just want to understand, is there a specific area where partners can collaborate with us on the API side, especially on the banking card payments APIs? Chris already. Yeah.
I think this is Eric again. I think from a there's not at this stage of our development of Code Connect and functionality, there's not truly a marketplace or collaboration space within Code Connect for partners to collaborate with each other. So that's, I know, something Carl and I have talked about, and Chris, as far as future state things that we'll be looking to add to the Code Connect overall ecosystem to functionality, really building out some of the partner tools on the network available, so that not only our banks can network together, but also our partners can.
Sure.
So not today. I guess the short answer is not today.
Okay, so I had that question. So we're not offering a marketplace for the APIs today.
Not for collaboration, for sharing of APIs between our clients, the partners, right? Correct. That's something that we have seen in the market, in the API market itself. Some of our competitors, to be quite honest, offer that. I would say, as I tend to be the person in front of our bank customers throughout the U.S., there's been of the 60 to 70 banks or clients that are working with APIs today, that has not been a major factor for them yet. just I would say yet that they've been able to consume and meet their use cases without it. However, I think I'm seeing, especially as we get to some of the smaller, less technology savvy clients, they may be looking for those types of a marketplace where they could, for example, buy or subscribe to interfaces that are API built that they don't have to do any work. So right, that's where I think we've got the first third of our client base has really been the ones that understand API as well, that understand the value, they have the ability, the skills and ability and staffing to develop those integrations. So that's why we led with that, and now we're building out a market. We're looking at the next step for for adoption, and that looks like to be, from what I'm gathering, what we've seen in our user groups, the marketplace is probably a good place to look going forward.
Sure. So. Thanks, Eric, for that.
Mm-hmm.
My final question would be on the recent developments in the Code Connect APIs. So do we have any update in the data or AS phase in the Code Connect? Is that something you can answer, Eric, or maybe Carl can help us on that?
I think Carl can, but I think from a data analytics, is that?
Yeah, I think the data phase and yeah,
because there is. Again, I can think of one specific client that he and I have talked quite a bit about the need for that, for accessing real-time data. For example, many of the APIs, and this is, I think, just true across the industry, is it becomes very account focused or customer focused. So we're pulling information about Eric, about his birthday, right? This is so. But if I wanted to have an API that pulled everyone whose birthday is today, how can I do that? That's really not going against the core processing system. It's going against the data systems. So that's some of the things that the ideas that our clients are coming up with that they'll need solutions for. To be honest, they don't have them today. So these are all more, those discussions I've had with the clients have been future, kind of forecasting out to the future, what's coming, what possible needs that they have down the road. So, and on AI, I have no idea. Carl, again, you may be able to speak to that. Not to put you on the spot here, sir.
I think there's definitely areas which are researching, but we haven't brought any particular APIs to the platform today that I think are heavily leveraging those technologies. And then in terms of data analytics, I'd say there's demand, and I'd say we probably see a lot of that demand in our digital layer as well. But to Eric's point, the current state is we haven't brought a significant number of APIs to the table since last year that will better facilitate some of the data analytics pieces. I think that's still something that we do on a more bespoke basis with our particular customers more often on the digital layer.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Carl. Thanks, Eric, for all the answers, detailed insights on the various use cases and the application of APIs in the banking and card payment space. So I'll now jump to the merchant side. We have the developer engine, which is the platform where we have all the merchant APIs. So I'll pass it on to Pawan, who will give us an overview of the developer engine and also show us how the APIs are cataloged on the developer engine. Over to you, Pawan.
Thanks, Siva. Good morning and good evening. Let me quickly share my screen. Can someone confirm?
Yeah. Yes, Pawan. Yeah.
Thanks. So a brief agenda. Yeah. So we are just going to quickly touch upon merchant landscape. Just spend a couple of minutes. We'll look at the merchant APIs, and we'll look into the developer engine portal where all the APIs are hosted and how to discover APIs and how to test some of them. So this is briefly, if you can see, it's divided into multiple swim lanes, starting from sales and marketing to boarding, servicing, payment processing, billing funding, and data and reporting. So in the sales and marketing swim lane, FIS employs strategic campaign to convert leads into opportunities and ultimately into active merchant accounts. The boarding swim lane streamlined the onboarding process for new merchants, ensuring a smooth integration into FIS system. Coming to servicing, it's a crucial swim lane which is dedicated to provide ongoing support and tailored solutions to keep existing merchants satisfied and engaged. This can also include everything, from troubleshooting to addressing merchant queries, ensuring a high level of customer satisfaction and loyalty. Payment processing, another essential lane where which guarantees the secure and efficient handling of financial transactions, while billing and funding is responsible for generating precise bills for services and ensuring timely funding to meet merchant financial needs. The data and reporting swim lane offers merchant invaluable insight and analytics, empowering data-driven decision making. It equips merchant with detailed report and metrics to optimize their performances. And altogether, these swim lanes, comprise the backbone of FIS merchant solution, covering every aspect of merchant business, from attracting new clients to servicing and supporting existing ones. Below this, you can see the API layer, which support all these activities, and we'll be, looking or getting more details into APIs. If you see, most of the APIs are primarily centered around customer experience and partner enablement. And these APIs are primarily available internal and externally for merchant partners, clients, and service providers to leverage Worldpay FIS capabilities. The portfolio-wise, we're into products, operations, compliance, risk, merger and acquisitions, integrations, technology, and some paid development. Developer Engine is the portal where we expose all our APIs for self-service and discovery, and you can come and browse and learn about the APIs. You can also get a lot of other information like dashboard, self-service, integration, some sample code, etc. We'll dig more detail and get into more details of it. Persona and market-wise, we have current consumers as financial institutions, enterprise merchants, partners, service providers. Line of business-wise, we are into merchants and financial institutions. We support multiple rails, core, MSFI, e-commerce, PayFac, and some partners with some strategic super partners. So with this brief introduction, let's get into Developer Engine portal. Let me just share screen and all right, so this is the landing page, developerengine.fisglobal.com. So this is the URL, and kind of similar to what we have seen earlier in Code Connect. You have the login screen here. And if you are new, you can sign up, and if you are an existing member, then you can obviously log in. We have already login created, so I'll be just logging in. All right, so I have just logged in, and you can see. Okay, I'm not sure whether it's visible. Okay, yes, yeah. So you can go to the dashboard, and you can look at your API credentials. I have already listed few of them, which I have used earlier. So in this, you can see the credentials which I have for some of the APIs which I have requested for, and the API keys. You can also see, you can monitor some of the parameters. Now, I'm not going to get into that at this point of time. Let's look at the discovery of APIs. Yeah. So on the home page, if you scroll down, you can see multiple business types, which probably as a startup you may be interested in, or probably wanted to target to a specific area. For example, SMB or enterprise merchant, or maybe platforms. So this is one way you can explore the APIs. For example, if I'm interested in fintech, I can click here and I can see the APIs available for fintech. Similarly, there are other ways to discover APIs. If you see, we have something called select business type on the left-hand side menu, wherein it lists out enterprise merchant, fintechs, ISOs, PayFacs, platforms, and SMBs. Depending on your need and the business segment you want to target to, you can choose one of them, and you can list or view the APIs available in that segment. For example, if I am looking at PayFac, you can see the list of APIs which is available, and you can click any one of them and get into details of that. For example, Tripos is one of the gateways. I mean, we have multiple flavors of it, so you can just click on one of those and get into more details of it. I just clicked on Tripos Direct, and it will show you the details, and the documentation as well for the API. Now, another way is to list out all the APIs that we have seen in Code Connect previously. Here, it gives you an ability to list out all the APIs and also capability to filter based on segment. For example, if you are looking for boarding, you can click and then you will be shown with all the boarding APIs available with merchant. You can also, on the top, you can select availability or business type, and probably you can select which geography you are interested in. You can select any one of them, and it will show you. For example, if I select United Kingdom, I get global KYC is the only API available. So it's pretty easy to navigate and discover the API. Okay, all right. So we have another way of discovery is documentation, wherein you can see business segment wise APIs are listed: banking, boarding, payments, reporting, and security. So let's look at a simple basic boarding APIs, wherein let's say we want to submit a lead. So I'll click on leads, and you can see here, it gives you complete documentation of the API, the prerequisites, the getting started details, and the versions. So if you want to try it out, you need to get the API key. So I just clicked, and I'll be getting the API key, which I'll copy and use. So which I've already shown you, right? API credential, which is already there. It is valid till 24. So I'll just copy this, and I'll go back to leads API. All right, now here we need to copy the key, and we can try out the lead submission. So here it's a post call, and you can see try it out. You click on that, you can see the endpoint URL and request body, which is kind of pre-populated. You want to make changes, so we can do that. So you can say innovate. Right, and I can change some of the parameters just to make sure that we are not using the old data. And here I'll just change my name. Right, so let's try it out. Yeah, so you see, we get a lead ID and the external reference ID. We're just going to copy this and keep it because this will be required. Yeah, and I'm just going to copy the external reference ID. So I just copied this external reference ID. If I want to look up whether this call was successful or not, I can retrieve that information. And you can see here, right? So this is what I have entered, and you can see I'm able to fetch the details of the lead which I just submitted. Similarly, we can check the status of the lead. We can also browse, on the lead status history. I mean, the current status probably predominantly, which has not changed yet because I've just created. But yeah, we can see what has happened to that. It is in submitted state. We have bunch of other APIs, on summary and the search, which uses various parameters, just to make sure that you are able to retrieve the data. So the last we can try this lead status history, probably external reference ID which I created. I can show. You can see here. There's nothing available here, but this is how it looks like. It's a sample response. If it is signed, the statuses will differ. So once it goes through its life cycle, it will show the right status. So this is another way of discovering and trying out APIs. Not all APIs are available for you to try it out. In certain cases, you have to reach out to the team. You have contacts, in the support details given on the home page, as well as on the each API's documentation page. So you can reach out to respective people and mail them, and certainly we'll come and help you out. Now, one interesting aspect here is if you do not have any understanding, and then you are looking for some sort of APIs, then you can go to Solution Finder, and this asks you some very simple basic questions. Any non-technical person or anybody can use this. So you just answer some of the questions, and it will show you the list of APIs. So here I am selecting North America, and I am a PayFac, and I want to provide quick onboarding, and you can see the list of APIs, the boarding APIs which got listed out here. So this is predominantly how the way you are going to discover the APIs and make use of them. On this home page, you will also find some interesting articles. If you scroll down, There are certain articles written by our peers and our team members are listed. So if that interests you, you can join some events or community. So all that is available. Yeah, that's pretty much. You can discover the APIs on Developer Engine portal. With this, I end my presentation. And back to you, Shiva.
Thanks, Pawan. That was a very detailed walkthrough of the developer engine. I will now pass to Sachin. Invite Sachin to give us some of the use cases that can demonstrate the capabilities of FIS merchant APIs. So to start with, we'll start with a very common use case. So, Sachin, can you please give us the use case of digital onboarding APIs that we have on the merchant side?
Sure, certainly. So generally, right, digital onboarding refers to the process of integrating new customers, right, or acquiring new customers or partners into the digital ecosystem, right, using online tools or tech stack that is available, right? So this streamlined approach, right, offers various benefits, right, including there's reduced paperwork, less human intervention, increased efficiency, right, and obviously that enhances the user experience, right? So there's one, just to give you a use case, right, within the context of merchants and payments and embedded finance, right? So let's take a use case of a digital boarding partner working in a niche marketplace, right, and who wants to integrate with FIS Worldpay, right? So in that scenario, a fintech company, think of one that is in a niche marketplace like Etsy, right? Etsy offers artisan products, right? And they have some merchants to onboard new merchant partner to expand its payment processing services, right? So the fintech is trying to simplify, right, and expedite the onboarding process for the merchants or sub-merchants, making it easier for them to start accepting payments through the fintech's platform. So that, if you want to break it down, right, and Pawan showed the boarding streamline, right? So there are multiple APIs we could leverage, right? So if you break down the digital onboarding process, it starts with an online registration, right? The prospect merchant receives an invitation to join the fintech's platform, right? They'll visit the fintech's company's website, initiate the onboarding process by registering online. This will involve basic business information like legal entity, business type, any tax identification based on the region that the merchant wants to operate in, right? Then it would be identity verification, right? So we have to ensure the security and regulatory compliance, right? So the fintech you would use digital identity verification tools or APIs to authenticate the merchant's identity, right? Or it may let FIs do it, right? Via APIs. So the merchant uploads the essential documents such as business license, financial records, right, through a secured website, right? These documents are then instantly processed and verified, right? Now the partner may have its own APIs, right? So the fintech company provides the merchant with access to its develop, whatever website they have, they can access, documentation and stuff like that, right? So this allows the merchant to seamlessly integrate with the fintech's payment processing, because at the end of the day, it's all about payments, right, on the merchant side. So the payment processing services into the, the e-commerce platform that they may have, or a point of sale system for card present transactions. Then there comes compliance checks, right? Obviously, any entity that we do business with, right, we are subject to a compliance check, right? Because the industry that we are operating is very regulated, right? The fintech company could do compliance on their own check for the prospect merchant, or it will allow FIS to do it via the APIs that we offer, right? This just ensures the partnership, aligns with the legal requirements of doing business. Then comes the customized payment solutions, and then the fintech, with its own user-friendly dashboard, allows to pull all these payment data for the merchant to see or the sub-merchant to see and things like that. And obviously the training and support. So that's the whole gamut of things that for a use case like this. So what outcome are we expecting? So this is the whole digital onboarding experience significantly expedites, right, the collaboration between the fintech and the prospective sub-merchant, right? And it reduces the time and the friction to start accepting payments, right? So I'll give you an example. We worked with the platform internally. It used to take days to board a merchant. We reduced that to like literally 4 to 5 minutes. So from the time to someone tries to Google merchant account, by the time they can get an account, and if the happiest path, we have been able to do it in 4 minutes. Obviously, there is room to improve there as well. So it just simplifies the partnership process, right? Whether it's between FIS and the fintech, or between the fintech and its own customers downstream.
Sure, thanks, Sachin. So that gives us the various touch points in the digital onboarding where FIS can help with their APIs.
Correct.
Moving to the next, we generate a lot of data on the merchant side. So
yes,
can you give us an idea of the merchant APIs that can help in the real-time data analytics?
Yeah. So just to put some numbers, right? Just high-level numbers for, it's a region specific, but when you say a lot of data, we are talking about billions and billions of transactions, right? So from that perspective, right, I mean, it's always a challenge to perform real-time analytics on a daily basis where you have millions of transactions feeding into the transaction pipeline, right? So we do have reporting APIs, right? And we offer those to allow merchants to access, the transaction data itself, right? So it provides details of like individual transactions, like, the payment methods, the details of like, the POS entry type, obviously amounts, timestamps, all that good stuff, like IP addresses for card not present transactions. All that is available via the reporting APIs. We also, Pawan was showing earlier TriPOS, right? So the payment gateway, we have many of them, right? Flavors of them, depending on region. We have payment gateway that offer APIs, right? That allow to access transaction data and to process transactions, right? Obviously, successful transactions as well as decline and proper response codes back to the consumer or caller to indicate what exactly happened, right? We obviously, and then we have to also be cognizant of the fraud. So we have fraud detection APIs, real-time fraud detection APIs are available. We offer these APIs to our acquired merchants as well as to our non-acquired merchants. And obviously we could use this data for other integrations that the consumer or the partner may have, right? It just to harness the power of that transaction data and making it available to our partners.
Sure, thanks, Sachin. So we also offer a lot of value-added service on the marketplace. I think the merchant, the developer engine offers a marketplace. So can you talk about some of the use cases on the cash advance space?
Oh, sure. Yeah, so that's a very good question. So that's now we are getting into the embedded finance areas, right? So we have partners in that area, in the cash advance or working capital space, right? So from that perspective, right, that use case is to make sure that the partner has the data that it needs, right? And some of the merchants are pre-screened. So let's look at the scenario, right? So a fintech company specializing in embedded finance, right? And they want to, it wants to partner with a merchant to offer, working capital solutions, right? So the merchant operates in, e-commerce business, right? And it frequently faces cash flow challenges, right? From an inventory management or whatever the business needs are, right? Especially during peak season, right? I mean, Cyber Monday is coming up. in US pretty soon. So things of that nature. So in those times, they may need, a boost in their working capital solution. So they want to offer the embedded finance solutions, right? So obviously the merchant is pre-screened, right? So what we do, we have integrated with partners in that space as a value-added service. So in advance, we kind of say, okay, these are the prospect merchants who may benefit from this working capital solution, right? And then, using the sales data, the fintech employs like, algorithms to assess merchants' credit worthiness, things like that, right? And then, when the merchant logs in, right, to an FI system, right, like IQ or, dashboard, it pops up saying, hey, you may benefit from a working capital solution, or there may be a specific link in the navigational area, right? And then it evaluates merchant sales history and performance to determine the eligibility for a working capital solution, right? And based on that, there is an approval for that working capital, right? So okay, I'm interested, the merchant user clicks on it, right? And it goes to the partner's website, right? And then go through the whole process of working capital, whatever solution that they are offering, right? And the approval process, let's just say it's, the partner or the fintech is offering is really, instantaneous, right? The terms, amount, interest, all that stuff, repayment schedule are customized based on the merchant needs. So that's the approval process. Now comes the disbursement part of the funds, the working capital itself, right? So once approved, the working capital funds are then disbursed to the merchant's business account. This quick access, to working capital now helps the merchant to kind of react to the surge during the peak season, right? Obviously, once you have gone through that, obviously there's got to be a repayment of that working capital, right? And then in that scenario, the fintech that's operating in that space integrates with the merchant's payment processing system, that's us, right? To enable automatic repayment of that. So a sliver or a small percentage, based on the agreement with the partner and the merchant, then gets automatically into the partner's account, right? So that's how it will work, right? And then obviously the partner would want to make sure, the performance of this working capital is monitored properly, right? So the fintech continually monitors that, right? Sales and financial performance, right? If sales increase, right, they may want to repay that working capital early, right? And obviously it's at the discretion of the merchant, right? And they could adjust that, right? So from this, right, the outcome is that now the merchant has an improved cash flow during the times of needs, right? So it's very reactive to merchant needs that improves the business viability for that merchant during these times. So obviously there could be some, other, tailored financing or tailored working capital needs that they may have, right? Obviously the administrative burden in this situation is pretty low, right? And it allows, right, to offer any creative ideas that the merchant has, right? Because that offers inclusion for merchants, right, who are struggling to procure working capital solutions, right? And it's all data driven, right? So all that stuff is data driven based on historical data of the merchant and also the data that's coming in on a regular basis.
Thanks, Sachin. That's very insightful and very useful use cases, which help us understand the various capabilities of merchant APIs. So just to summarize, we saw the Code Connect platform where we have the cards, payments, and core banking APIs. Then we went through the digital experience, the developer experience, where we saw all the merchant APIs. So hope audience now have a good understanding of the various APIs that FIS offers. Thanks again. Thanks everyone for joining us today. I know it's very early morning in some of the US places. So thanks everyone again. Nice talking to you. Thank you. Bye.